The whistle screamed, and the crowd roared as the ball soared across the field. A perfect arc under the blazing Arizona sun. I stood on the sidelines, heart pounding, watching Caleb Martinez, our team's star captain, weave through defenders like they were ghosts. Then, in a split second, he tripped a rare misstep and I knew I'd be the one to fix him. I'm Ethan Cole, the athletic trainer for the Desert Hawks, a Division I college soccer team at Arizona State. At 22, I'm the youngest staff member, always on the sidelines with my medical kit, ready to patch up sprains and egos. Caleb, though, he's different. He's 23, all lean muscle and quiet intensity, with dark eyes that seem to see right through you. He's the kind of guy who commands a room without saying a word. And for 2 years, I've been his unofficial good luck charm, his words, not mine. It started as a joke after I taped his ankle before a game and he scored a hat trick. Now, he insists I'm the only one who touches him before a match. It's flattering, sure, but lately, his insistence feels heavier. That day, as I knelt beside him on the field, the crowd's cheers faded to a hum. His ankle was swollen, and I could feel his pulse racing under my fingers as I checked for damage. You're going to be fine, Caleb, I said, keeping my voice steady. Just a mild sprain. He didn't respond, just stared at me, his breath uneven. Only you, Ethan, he murmured, so low I almost missed it. No one else gets to do this. His hand brushed mine, lingering a second too long, and my chest tightened. I told myself it was nothing, just Caleb being Caleb, intense and dramatic. But the way his eyes locked on mine, like I was the only person in the stadium, made my stomach flip. I helped him up, and he leaned on me more than he needed to, his arm slung over my shoulder. The crowd cheered again, thinking it was just the captain getting back on his feet. But I felt the weight of his touch, the way his fingers tightened briefly on my arm. You're coming to the locker room after, right? He asked, his voice casual, but his eyes anything but. Yeah, sure, I said, brushing it off. I had to. This was my job, stay professional, keep boundaries. But Caleb had a way of blurring lines, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could pretend it didn't affect me. Back in the locker room, the team was buzzing after a 3-1 win. Caleb sat on the bench, his ankle propped up, grinning as his teammates slapped his back. I was packing up my kit when he called me over. Ethan, check it one more time, he said, loud enough for the others to hear. But when I knelt in front of him, he leaned in close, his voice dropping. You're sticking around after practice tomorrow, right? I need my charm. I laughed, trying to keep it light. You're pushing it, Martinez. I've got other players to tape up. You know. His smile faded, just for a second, and something flickered in his eyes, something possessive, almost desperate. No one else, Ethan. Just you. The words hit me like a punch, and I froze, my hand still on his ankle. The locker room was loud, but it felt like we were alone. I nodded, not trusting my voice, and got out of there as fast as I could. That night, I couldn't sleep. Caleb's words kept looping in my head, tangled with the memory of his touch. I'd always known I was attracted to guys, but I kept it quiet. Growing up in a small Arizona town, you learn to hide parts of yourself. Coming out wasn't an option when your dad's a pastor and your mom thinks, love the sinner. Hate the sin is progressive. I thought college would be different. But even here, I kept my walls up. Caleb. Thuff was starting to chip away at them. The next day, practice was brutal. The coach was pushing the team hard for the upcoming championship. And Caleb was relentless, barking orders and running drills like a man possessed. I watched from the sidelines, taping wrists and handing out water. But I couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching me too. Every time I looked up, his eyes were on me, steady and unreadable. After practice, I was in the training room, organizing supplies, when Caleb walked in. No limp, no reason to be there. He closed the door behind him, and my heart skipped. "You're avoiding me," he said, leaning against the wall, arms crossed. "I'm not." I lied, busying myself with a stack of bandages. "Just doing my job." "Your job is me," he said, stepping closer. "You're my good luck charm. Remember?" His voice was low, teasing, but there was an edge to it. He was close now, close enough that I could smell the sweat and grass on him. And I hated how much it made my head spin. "Caleb, come on," I said, stepping back. "You don't need me for every little thing. There are other trainers." His jaw tightened, and for a moment, he looked almost hurt. "I don't want other trainers," he said. "I want you." The words hung in the air, heavy and dangerous. I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. He took another step, his hand brushing my arm, and I swear I forgot how to breathe. "Caleb," I started, my voice barely above a whisper. "This isn't. Don't." He cut me off, his eyes fierce. "Don't say it's nothing. You feel it too, Ethan. I know you do." I wanted to deny it, to laugh it off, to run. But he was right, and that terrified me. Before I could say anything, the door swung open, and Coach Reynolds walked in, clipboard in hand. Caleb stepped back, his expression shifting to neutral in an instant. But my heart was still racing. "Everything okay in here?" Coach asked, glancing between us. "Yeah," Caleb said smoothly. "Just checking on my ankle." Coach nodded, but his eyes lingered on me a little too long. I forced a smile, grabbed my kit, and bolted. I needed air, space, anything to clear my head. But as I walked across the empty field, I could still feel Caleb's gaze burning into me, like a promise or a warning. The next week was a blur of practices, games, and Caleb's unrelenting presence. He'd find reasons to pull me aside. His knee was off. His shoulder was tight, but it was always an excuse to get me alone. Each time, his touches lingered. His words grew bolder. "You're mine, Ethan," he'd whisper when no one was around. And I'd laugh it off. But my resolve was crumbling. The team noticed. Jake, our goalkeeper, started throwing me side glances, muttering about Caleb's favorite. I brushed it off, but the whispers were getting louder. I wasn't just the trainer anymore. I was Caleb's trainer, and that came with a spotlight I didn't want. I loved my job, loved being part of the team, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing control. One night, after a late practice, Caleb caught me in the parking lot. The campus was quiet, the desert air cool against my skin. He leaned against my car, blocking my way, his usual confidence tinged with something softer. "Ethan, talk to me," he said, You've been dodging me all week. I'm not dodging, I said, avoiding his eyes. I'm just busy. Bullshit. He stepped closer, his voice low. You're scared. I get it. I'm scared too. His admission hit me like a freight train. Caleb Martinez, the fearless captain. Scared. I looked up, and his eyes were raw, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. Of what? I asked, my voice barely audible. Of this, he said, gesturing between us. Of what it means. But I can't stop thinking about you. Ethan. I don't want to. He reached for my hand, and I let him, my heart pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it. His fingers were warm, steady, and for a moment, I let myself imagine what it would be like to give in. But then I remembered where we were. Arizona State. A place where team spirit didn't always extend to guys like me. I pulled my hand back, shaking my head. Caleb, we can't. You're the captain. I'm the trainer. People will talk. Let them, he said, his voice fierce. I don't care. I do. I snapped, louder than I meant to. You've got a scholarship, a future. I've got this job, my life. I can't risk it. I turned to open my car door, but he grabbed my wrist. Not hard, but enough to stop me. You think I'd let anything happen to you? He said, his voice breaking. Ethan, I'd fight for you. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But I'd spent my whole life hiding. And the idea of stepping into the open, of being seen, terrified me. I pulled away and got in my car, leaving him standing there under the streetlight, his face a mix of frustration and pain. The next game was a disaster. Caleb was off missing passes, tripping over nothing. The team lost 2-0, and the locker room was a funeral. I kept my head down, taping ankles and avoiding Caleb's eyes, but I could feel his anger radiating. When everyone else left, he cornered me. You didn't tape me up today? He said, his voice tight. You let Mike do it. Mike's a trainer too, I said, keeping my tone neutral. I was busy. Busy, he repeated, stepping closer. Or running away. His eyes searched mine, and I hated how much I wanted to close the distance between us. I need you, Ethan. Not just for the game. For me. I shook my head, my throat tight. Caleb, you don't get it. This isn't just about us. If people find out, it could ruin everything. For both of us. Then we'll be careful, he said, his voice softening. But I'm not letting you go. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. And I froze, caught between wanting to lean into his touch and wanting to run. Before I could decide, Jake burst in, his eyes narrowing as he saw us. What's going on here? He asked, his tone sharp. Nothing, I said quickly, stepping back. Caleb didn't move. His jaw set. Doesn't look like nothing, Jake said, crossing his arms. You two are awfully close lately. Mind your business. Jake. Caleb snapped, his voice low and dangerous. Jake smirked, but there was no humor in it. Just saying. People are starting to talk. You might want to watch yourselves. He turned and left, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. I looked at Caleb, my heart racing. "This is what I'm talking about," I said. "We can't do this." But Caleb just shook his head, stepping closer. "We're already doing it, Ethan, whether you admit it or not." The championship was a week away, and the tension was suffocating. The team was on edge. Caleb was playing like a man possessed, and I was drowning in my own head. Jake's words had spread, and now every glance from a teammate felt like a judgment. I kept my distance from Caleb, sticking to group settings. But he wasn't having it. He'd find me in the training room, the parking lot, even the campus coffee shop, always with that same intense look that made my resolve waver. One night, he showed up at my apartment. It was late, the kind of quiet where the desert feels like it's holding its breath. I opened the door, and there he was, his hair messy, his eyes tired but determined. "We need to talk," he said, stepping inside before I could protest. "Caleb, you can't just," I started. But he cut me off. "I'm done hiding," he said, his voice raw. "I'm done pretending I don't feel this. I love you, Ethan." The words hit me like a tidal wave, and I stood there, frozen, as he stepped closer. "I've loved you since that first game, when you taped my ankle and told me I'd be okay. I didn't know what it meant then, but I do now." My heart was pounding, my mind screaming at me to push him away, to protect myself. But my body had other ideas. I reached out, my hand trembling, and touched his face. "Caleb," I whispered, "I'm scared." "I know," he said, his voice soft. He took my hand, pressing it to his chest, where I could feel his heart racing. "But I'm not. Not anymore." And then he kissed me, slow and deliberate, like he was pouring every unspoken word into it. I kissed him back, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. But the world doesn't stop for moments like that. The next day, Jake cornered me in the training room, his face twisted with anger. "I saw you two last night," he said. "You think you can just do that on this team?" I felt the blood drain from my face. "Jake, it's not. Save it," he snapped. "You're the trainer. He's the captain. You're crossing lines, and I'm not the only one who's noticed." He stormed out, and I knew it was only a matter of time before the whispers became shouts. The championship game was electric, the stadium packed with screaming fans. I stood on the sidelines, my heart in my throat, watching Caleb lead the team with a fire I'd never seen. He was brilliant, unstoppable, but I could see the strain in his eyes, the weight of everything we hadn't said. When he scored the winning goal in the final minute, the crowd erupted, and he ran straight to me, pulling me into a hug in front of everyone. It wasn't just a huge, it was a statement, and I felt every eye in the stadium on us. After the game, in the chaos of celebration, Caleb grabbed my hand and pulled me into the empty locker room. "I meant it," he said, his voice steady despite the noise outside. "I'm not hiding anymore. I want you, Ethan. I want us." I looked at him, at the boy who'd called me his good luck charm, who'd fought for me even when I was too scared to fight for myself. And I realized I was done running. "Okay," I said, my voice shaking. "But we do this together. No more secrets." He smiled, brighter than the stadium lights, and kissed me again, It wasn't perfect, and it wouldn't be easy. The team, the school, the world feed have their opinions. But in that moment, with Caleb's hand in mine, I knew we'd face it together. Months later, we stood on that same field, just the two of us. The season over and the championship trophy in the case. Caleb was heading to a pro tryout, and I'd been offered a job with the team's medical staff. We'd come out to the team, to our families, and while it wasn't all acceptance, it was enough. We'd built something real, something worth fighting for. As the sun set, Caleb pulled me close, his voice soft. "You're still my good luck charm. You know." I laughed, resting my head against his shoulder. "And you're still trouble." But as we stood there, the desert stretching out around us, I knew we'd already won something bigger than any game. We'd found each other, and that was enough.